What's going on, guys? We're going to talk a little bit about Olympic lifting technique, and it is super complicated, so I do not want to pretend like this is exhaustive. This is kind of just to get us going. Olympic lifting is something that is extremely technical that people work on for years and years to try and get better and refine everything that they need to. So I want to try and go over some common mistakes real quickly, what we're going to be asking of you in the program, and things that we're going to be looking for to try and make you more and more comfortable so that hopefully the big things are taken care of, and then we can dial in the small things going forward over the years. So we've got the two lifts that we're going to be focusing on, the clean and jerk and then the snatch. For what we're going to be doing for this program, the big thing that we're going to be focusing on is going to be the clean and then the snatch. We're not necessarily going to be focusing on the jerk necessarily. So we can do that later. That's very similar to as far as doing push press, in my mind at least. So we're going to be doing a lot of push press, we'll be doing a lot of shoulders, and jerks can come later on. So the big thing is we're going to start with is going to be our receiving positions is what I want to talk about. So for the clean, most everyone's seen it. You're going to end standing up in a front rack position. So arms carrying the bar, and your snatch, you're going to have your arms wider out. They will be overhead. So we're going to start with the clean real quickly. As far as a couple things to note, usually I use a similar grip to my bench press, but I know that varies for a lot of people. So where the knurling starts on the bar, I like to go a thumb's length, wrap my hands, and go from there. That's where I want to be comfortable holding it in my front rack position. That's where I will start from the floor. And then if I do jerk it, that's where we're going to be as well. The snatch, this one is where we get, it's going to be a little different. So we want the bar to be able to rest right at our hip crease as it comes across. So take my barbell right here, and then I know based off of, since I've done it several times, and then you can do roughly the same thing with the PVC pipe if it's easier, but you could just do it with an empty barbell. Usually there's going to be an additional ring on your barbells with it. There is no knurling on. So I usually grab right outside that ring, and then it ends right about where my hip crease is. So that is where I want my snatch grip to be. So try and figure that out, understand where that is, and go from there. Something that is going to be difficult, I'm going to take, is going to be this overhead position. So a lot of people struggle sometimes just holding it here due to mobility, whether that is through the arms or that is through their back. And then particularly gets difficult as you come down into the squat and be able to control that right there. So, all right, catch my breath for a second. There we go. Cleans, like we talked about, we're gonna go thumb's length from that knurling, and then we'll look at the pull here in a second. But I want to be able to be, that bar rests across my shoulders, right up against my throat. My hands have a relative hold on the bar. More and more, like as I go to jerk, I would readjust my hands, but we don't want to see elbows like this. You'll see people who are going to try and catch their cleans into a shoulder press, and you can do that with 95. Strong guys can do it with 135, but over time, if we're trying to push well into the 200s or into the 300s, that means that we need to be able to catch with our torso and not with our shoulders and triceps. All right. Let's start going over a couple key things. I will start with the pull real quick. So we're looking for a straight line with both of our Olympic lifts. So when that bar comes off the floor, starting mid-foot, as it's coming up, I'm going to press my knees back. I want to keep an upright torso. This is not like your deadlift, where you'll see a good amount of people who are farther over and their hips are higher. For this one, if anything, we're going to cheat those hips a little lower to keep that chest high. This would be something you can see a lot from Chinese Olympic lifters. They stay extremely upright the entire time. So from there, we want to create a straight line, torso up, and we're pulling it into our hips to win, explode, catch, reset. So, a couple things to watch out for. One, we don't want the bar to crash down on us. What that would look like is if I did it, and then it is just, that's probably a bad example, so it's up high and then hits my shoulders, rather than I want it to be my shoulders meeting the bar as it comes around. The other thing, people will tell you that you need to bounce it off your hips. You're going to pull it into your hips, but like we said, it is a straight line. It is not an arc. So in our bench press and our shoulder press, there's an natural arc that happens, not with Olympic lifts. We're trying to pull this straight through. We're going to maneuver our body a little bit around it to be able to try and generate the most force. But if you notice the bar is getting farther away from you, that means it's hitting your thighs and bumping away. At that point, I am trying to catch my clean out here, or trying to catch my snatch out here, and gravity's still working, and I'm not going to win. So I want to think about, it's going to be over my midfoot. So for it to get from my midfoot to my shoulder is a matter of inches. I want to keep that bar, like I said, in a straight line. So we're going to keep those hips higher, flat back, just like in deadlift, to make sure all the vertebrae are in the right position. Pull off the ground, work around here. It's going to glide right along my thighs until I extend, arms come through and catch. Final thing to watch out for, we do not want to be pulling with our arms. Coming out of, if it's a bodybuilding background, powerlifting background, a lot of us have very strong upper bodies. This is all about the legs and the hips in this movement. The arms, back, and everything else becomes an accessory, but is not the main driver of this movement. So as we come up, we work around our knees, and then as we get to about mid-thigh, now we're going to explode and hit triple extension. So I'm going to extend my hips, my knees, and I'm going to get up on my feet. So I want it to be violent and quick. So now I've generated momentum through the bar to where I then can receive it. Same thing for a snatch. My hands are wider. I'm going to pull. I'm going to then receive it here. All right, so there are power cleans, there are squat cleans, there are power snatches, and there are squat snatches. The differences are where you catch them. Squat snatch, squat clean means you're going to take, if it's the clean, we're going to ride that all the way to the bottom, stand it back up. If it's a snatch, hit the snatch, ride it all the way to the bottom, stand back up. Power means we stay above parallel with our clean and our snatch. So this would be usually for a lighter weight if it's done appropriately. There's some people who can power clean and power snatch just stupid amounts of weight. Anyways, we want to be able to power clean and be able to catch and then stand up. So the idea is that if I'm doing a squat clean, I only have to pull the bar to here, and this is for later on, but this is just for reference, and then I can get myself under the bar and stand it up. Same thing with a snatch. I need to get it here, and I can stand it up. When I'm doing power, I need to get the bar all the way up here. So it's all about how much force you're creating against the bar. 3 things to be watching out for. 1 is going to be the hips position that we talked about. We don't want the hips to be too high. We're going to try and keep those lower, so you should feel it in your quads as you're pushing away. The second, we don't want the bar to be out in front of us, so if you feel it bouncing out in front of you, you're probably smacking off your thighs and pulling away. We want to be pulling straight up, pulling those elbows through. And the last thing is not letting that bar crash down on us. We want it to be a smooth transition to our front rack there. So there is a lot more with the Olympic lifts. This is what we're going to go with getting started. Some key terms that we're going to be using through the program are going to be called hang power clean, hang power snatch, snatch pulls, snatch clean, or snatch pulls, clean pulls, stuff like that. So from the hang is going to refer to starting above the knee. So in the program, it'll say hang power clean. I want you to pick the bar up off the ground, stand up, come back down, and then pull and catch. And we want it to be quicker. Obviously it was slow, but the reason for that is we're trying to focus on a few things at a time, create that mind muscle connection, basically. Not exactly how bodybuilders use it, I guess, but a neural pathway to where you get used to my extension and catch right there. The pulls stop at the extension. We do not catch. So what we'd be looking at is, if I have my bar on the ground, I'm going to come up, pull, and go back down. Back to the ground, work around my knees, pull, and go back down. So, same thing with snatch. So, got my wider grip. If we're gonna be doing from the hang, I'll be here, come down, and catch. Reset, and if you need to drop it, if you can drop it for your gym, definitely do that. Pull, catch, set down, or drop it. For your pulls, it'll be from the ground. Now we're working the first part. So, pushing, and then there. You'll probably feel this one in your quads because you're gonna be more upright. It's not loaded into your hamstrings like a deadlift would be. There's plenty of videos on the internet really going over all of this. If you have questions, feel free to let me know. Feel free to look at what other people have done because they have a wealth of knowledge. Oh, I'm out of breath. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful. Hope it makes sense as we go forward. If you have any questions, let me know. Hope you have a great day.